Hey everyone, due to the location of today's episode and some technical difficulties during recording, a segment of the footage was corrupt near the end. Audio is pretty rough during this time, but we're still very proud of it. We pride ourselves on our skills in layout development and visual design, but that does not mean we have the same skills with audio engineering. That said, please enjoy today's episode as we discuss some fun topics with some very fun people. Thank you and enjoy.
Hello everyone, happy holidays. Welcome back to the Howard Company's Branding, Signage, and Technology Podcast. It is the last episode for 2025, and we have the entire design team with us today. So, Brittany, Luke, Jared, Tusha, and Kelsey. So, before we jump in, we're going to talk about best practices leading into 2026 and some strategies that should maybe be left behind in 2025. Before we open that, just want to mention that we will be at NRF, the retail big show in New York City, Javits Center, from January 11th through the 13th at the pit stop. So there'll be a cool go-kart track. Our design team's helping us a lot with the design of the building, the track. We're going to have our menu boards there, our drive-thru equipment. So we hope to see you there. If you have any questions, just let us know. But on to today's topic, last episode of 2025. I thought it'd be great to get you guys together to think of some good menu board best practices heading into 2026. So we'll start with the good stuff of what are some ideas that customers should use heading into the new year. Who wants to start? Jared? Oh.
So I don't know if my personal views align with this, but I will say objectively, I think that almost every big company, or even smaller ones too, are utilizing very clean color blocking, simple sectioning for borders or backgrounds or headers or whatever it is to offer something that's. Sometimes it may feel uninspired, so I can see why that's not so desirable, but everyone's doing it. It's very corporate nowadays, and I think that's one thing that I've seen continued through this year and into the next year is that that's something a lot of people are doing.
Legibility and
over everything, something that's simple, clean, and yeah, I think gone are the days of the super insane amounts of stuff just jam-packed in there, and it's just kind of simple sectioning, line items listed out nicely, stylized pictures.
Nice.
Position's important.
Mm-hmm.
Kelsey?
I think we've got, it's not necessarily a 2025 thing, but we've seen a lot of people implementing OCS and a lot of customers utilizing that and taking advantage of that promo space for their flashy upsells and utilizing OCS just for the sales benefit that it is. You get more accurate orders, and customers kind of have come to expect that from most establishments. But then again, it's an additional promo space, and you can have a nice flashy rotation or anything like that.
I have a question going both of your ideas. Mm-hmm. So if we're asking people to already minimize their menu, and then they need to save space for OCS, how does that kind of go together?
It's good to know how you're sectioning things, to know what could be afforded to give way to the OCS apron. If it's not a promo, at least knowing how you're going to compartmentalize and compose your work so that your lower margin items are the ones that you can quote unquote sacrifice for that space, or the items that the customer should have in mind is promoted elsewhere enough that you can not have it necessarily on screen all the time.
And I think another thing too, going along with that, is and we've seen it a couple times, Kelsey, but the amount of time it takes to prepare an item, is it really beneficial to be pushed through drive-thru? So we see that sometimes, where it's if the turn time on making an item is not beneficial to keep your drive-thru line moving, do you even want to push it on your drive-thru? Is that something that you can really push when someone is inside your store? If you have an indoors.
A lot of people do like to put their entire menu inside as well as outside, and I feel there's a lot of there's a lot you can probably take off because the point of a drive-thru is getting people in and out, being very efficient and just keeping the line moving, as much of your product out there as possible. And if you're going to be sitting in the kitchen for 10, 15 minutes to try to make something to get out to the drive-thrus, well, I feel like that's kind of a detriment to what you're trying to actually
That's a great point, and to expound on it, it's not that you can't offer your full menu to your drive-thru audience, but yes, there have been a lot more customers. That's an interesting thing I would have thought to bring up. Is like 2025, we've seen a lot more people consider the prep time and the turnaround speed, and kind of condensing their menu to a really efficient one.
Well, they're repeat customers too. They're gonna know what you offer inside anyway. So if they really want to have it in the drive-thru, they can just ask for it.
Well, they're going off the app.
I was about to say that your app is a great thing, a great resource. Assume your customers know your stuff.
Yeah, I think going off your point, because some of you have been in previous episodes where you've talked about minimizing your menu and whatnot, and like you said, it's not about, I can't offer my entire menu.
Right.
There's other ways to show that through pre-sale boards, poster frames, other types of advertising. So it's not like we're asking you to completely rearrange your menu items.
Tusha. So I was gonna say not the opposite of Jared's, but adding kind of a texture to the background. So instead of having white or black, or how McDonald's has the white background, I feel like it's a design that a lot of restaurants are trying to mimic. But I feel like this year I've been trying to just add a little spice to the background, if that's like a pattern or just some sort of repeating logo or something that embraces the brand, but also just kind of gives it more fun, I think. Texture almost, even if it's just like a wood texture or grain, I think adding that is, especially for digital screens, I think that makes menus look good in my opinion.
It can be easier on the eye, especially if you don't want it too busy.
Right.
If it's almost too many stark colors, I guess it depends on saturation and all that.
Yeah, I mean, you're already investing in digital signage, you might as well invest in the design of your menu. So, nice. Brittany, Luke?
I'd say bringing in good quality photos to your menu that is going to draw customers' eye, and they're going to see that picture and be like, I want that. Don't even care what it actually is for the description. Like, just seeing that image can just, yes, that's what I need, what I want now.
What's that crispy chicken thing? That looks amazing.
I don't know what I want.
Number 4? Yeah. Look at that.
And using AI photos doesn't always accomplish that. And I know a lot of people sometimes will go that route, but if you have some good photography and a way to get your menu item on your menu, I think that's a really appetizing.
Yeah, I think it's already a deception of like, you see a picture and then you get it and you're like, this looks nothing. So that's the downside of using AI images in that case of like,
this burger's supposed to be this day. Wait a
minute.
This is supposed to
We had a customer recently, and they didn't use AI, but it was some very basic photos that they hired an agency to do before they finalized their dishes, but it was all Vietnamese, Asian dishes. And she's like, oh yeah, there was a mom and pop shop that opened in my hometown that 100% stole our images from Google.
What?
So don't just take images from Google either. Get your original stuff, because someone else will notice if they're doing their own due diligence.
I didn't know about that since
Because it was a fun conversation. They're no longer around. We didn't really have to do anything, but it was kind of flattering.
Yeah.
And your team can help with that, right? Menu, if they don't have a product, if they don't have an image of their cheeseburger, is that something
We
that
do
you
have
guys
stock.
Yes, we have a pretty decent sized catalog of finding any sort of photographs, whether that's a sandwich, a burrito, or kind of the whole nine.
And we can give pointers too on how you can do a decent setup with just your iPhone or something.
Photography.
We can always utilize the stock photo websites too if the customer's willing to pay.
Yes. Yeah.
If it's something we don't already have.
Nice.
We also offer services to edit those photos too. Like I've had to do that in the past, where it's like I get a full photo and you need transparency. Well, no, but I can make it transparent for you. So it's like you can do the whole 9 yards if that's something that you're looking for.
You make the food, we'll make sure it looks good.
That's right.
I know Kelsey's worked several times with color correction and all that, and photographs that we receive. So that's also a really big thing, just to make everything look a little bit more appealing.
But we want to highlight, if you're you're gonna send photos, make sure you send the whole image of something,
Yeah.
not cropped off, because then that's all we have to work with. We can Photoshop extra into
Right.
it, but
There's ways
takes
we
longer time and
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
It might not work.
We could figure it out.
Yeah.
It's tough.
We can do anything.
Yeah.
Just saying.
We're magicians.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're kind of the
Some might
best.
say.
Luke, last but not least.
Yeah, I would say really focus on hierarchy within your menu. I think that's a really big thing to really allow the customer to flow through the menu effectively and efficiently, and not get caught up in different parts of it, and understand what your top sellers are. Really have that highlighted in maybe the first portion of the menu. Have, if you're talking drive-through, to go from the top, kind of go to the bottom, come back through, and finish off on the right side. And just know exactly how to formulate that flow. Our team's obviously pretty seasoned in that, and to really focus on not having too much going on. I think we kind of highlighted that a little bit earlier, but to really focus on like the top sellers and images, not having too much images or too many images, and really just allowing the customer to flow, through it, and just be done with the order, know exactly what they're looking for, and get going on with their day. So, and in interior as well, you're not sitting there, and I'm a terrible orderer when I get to menus and stuff like that inside sometimes, where I'm like, my girlfriend kicks me out on it, and I'm like, and I'm sitting there looking, and I'm like, I don't know what to pick. And so hierarchy, if there's something that's really catching my eye, I'm like, let's do it. And I can just find that, and I know exactly what I'm going to order. So it's also always really helpful for people like me.
That would be a fun thing to start doing for if you have the spare space, be it OCS or wherever, to rotate indecisive customers. Choose this, and just like a random grab bag of like items, and it's just like, go with this one.
Yeah, exactly. Upselling and stuff like that is a huge thing that people look for, and trying to really highlight that for customers that don't know what the heck they're trying to buy today is
Too much in a rush.
really nice. So.
Nice.
It's fun to be told what to do sometimes.
Makes it easy. That's for
Sure does.
Okay, so switching to a design strategy that should be left in 2025. So, a lot of the work that you guys do, is there something that you're like, oh, I wish that they would refrain from doing this?
Get mine up or something. Too small fonts.
Yes.
Are sacrificing to go with a smaller font because you want the full description. It's not worth it because your customer can't read it anyway. So either get rid of the fluff of this description to make fonts bigger, or make your menu less busy somehow to be able to get those fonts bigger. Because if the customer's far enough away and can't read it, they're not.
Is that usually an item description? Is where you see
It can
most?
be, yes, but it definitely can be both.
Or
But
too
I would
many
say definitely
images.
description can run way too small.
That goes back to the whole idea
Drive-thru
of
or indoor.
like the drive-thrus where they're making quick orders, not where all of your nutritional information needs to be. So use your website or your app to expound on that.
Nice.
Yes.
I guess. So this is probably unpopular because I know Jared's always got on it. You can hate me for it. But let me explain. So I think the animated backgrounds, when done incorrectly, can be a detriment to your menu. Where if you don't do it tastefully, or like minute details that you're, adding just some motion to spice things up, that's great. But like when you start moving the background around and images are moving and everything is going all over at once, if you're not doing it tastefully, it becomes an eyesore and it's a problem. It makes it hard to look at sometimes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So like if you can do it tastefully, that's not what I'm saying. But if you can do it tastefully, that's great. But it's like when you overdo it, I think it can be too much personally. But I do think it is cool to show the digital technology. Like if you have screens, why not show some sort of movement? I think that's cool. But
yeah, you're a mom of 3 and you're going through a drive-thru and your kids are just trying to have you order.
Right.
And the kids are like, what is that?
Yeah.
You're watching the menu and not looking at what you gotta order. It's kind of a problem.
Right. Yeah.
So,
We're already overstimulated as it is.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Good point.
Can I go next? Because it's kind of like in the vein of what Jared's saying about movement and also what Tusha was saying about textures. This almost contradicts it, but it's more so be wary how you apply it.
Right.
In another podcast, I believe it was another one I was with Jared on, chalkboard textures. Try a little harder.
Wow. You got straightforward. Kelsey, the jugular.
Can you tell that we do a lot of stuff?
Yep, it stops being original pretty quick. Thank you. Not that it's like a bad look inherently. I understand why it's popular. You've got a dark, neutral, simple texture, and then inherently the white text or even colorful text will look good on it. But use that to your advantage,
Right.
and even if it's only for titles, put some color into it, because straight black and white is not going to draw the eye anywhere. And then, if you're gonna commit to a stylized approach like that, and you want it to look like a chalkboard, then go the whole 9 yards, and you might need to invest in somebody illustrating pictures of your food for the icons, and just serve as icons instead of photos. You can put photography onto a chalkboard. I've seen that work just fine, but that kind of combination can clash very quickly. Just a bunch of stark, hard-edged, realistic photos thrown on something that's otherwise very textured and almost, be careful when using a chalkboard texture. It's classic, but it's like Comic Sans. Too many companies have used it, and I believe that there's more creative work that you can explore. I believe in you.
I got one, if you don't have one yet. One thing I've seen this year from my customers personally is, I know this could be hard for like mom and pops, but like ensuring that you have just like colors, fonts, and things that you want on the menu board. That way it's just easier for us as designers to kind of put everything together, as well as making sure that your brand is cohesive with just the vibe of the restaurant or how you want to sell things. If it's geared towards Gen Z, make it a little bit more colorful, add some lingo to it. If you're a mom and pop that's like geared towards like older people, then go for more of that.
Yeah.
Classic
What
looks.
are they leaving behind?
Not branding theirs.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you're talking about really be aware of your own brand's image. I think that hits on the point that we can help with branding.
Exactly.
And a lot of customers might not consider that when they're like, well, I know I make good food. Okay, that's great. That's one talent that I don't necessarily have, but I can help you keep it consistent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's very important. Just kind of, even if you open up one store and you're planning to open up more, like making sure it's cohesive between every location too is important. Because I feel like some of our customers, each location might offer different things and they change up the look a little bit and could get confusing, but I think ultimately just making sure the brand cohesion is there.
Yeah, brand cohesion is huge, and I think that's a really big thing that people tend to kind of forget when they're trying to cram everything into a drive-thru menu board.
Exactly.
Just you have basically, the sky's the limit with a lot of obviously with digital. I feel like you can create such a brand new design and something really artistic, to fit into a menu board. It's kind of like a simple thing, but there's a lot of personality you can really put into it. Like you said, there's textures, different, kind of imagery and stuff like that you can really bring that to life. So that's ways to really implement that, and not to necessarily just let go.
Yeah.
So, but kind of in line with that as well, I feel like there's sometimes a limit. So I would say to leave back in 2025 is adding too many images to a menu and just cluttering it and making it obviously, I just said before, you want to have some really good, images of your food and everything like that. I feel like that makes total sense.
Not every listing has to have that.
Yeah, and the thing about it is that this is
Highlight your higher margin.
Mm-hmm.
right, and people, things that people have maybe never seen, and you're offering that they can't get anywhere else.
Yeah.
And I might have meant this, or I've said this in our last podcast. I think most people know what a cheeseburger looks like, so like you don't have to have a image of your cheeseburger every single time. So
This is also a burger.
this one has bacon in it. You can see that little part. Like I feel like it's a little unnecessary. And I think while if it's a high ticket item, then by all means add it. I think that makes a lot of sense. But if you're going on the list and you have 5 different cheeseburgers, you have 5 different burritos, or you have different set of drinks, stuff like that, you can really limit it and leave a lot of white space to allow the customer to read through your menu effectively, and you're not getting stuck looking at all these images. And like I said, with my other positive thing for 2026, hierarchy is a huge thing. So when you have an image for every single listing, your hierarchy goes away.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really important thing, to not clutter your menu with pretty pictures. Right? And they might be pretty, they might be fine, but I don't think you need to have every single one have a picture to it.
You mentioned the white space, and like negative space is actually very strong in compositions, because it helps guide the eye and understand. It's almost like letting your eyes breathe and understand where things are broken up. But that is always a challenge, because we are trying to get as much content on as we can. So
It's a game. It's a little bit of a puzzle sometimes, but you gotta make it look into turn the puzzle into a pretty finished picture. Like every puzzle should be.
Let's say so. Complete the puzzle. Frame the puzzle.
There you go.
I feel like it's totally a balancing act between all that stuff, like the weightiness of photos or descriptions or font size or whatever. It's like what Brittany was saying, what you were saying. It's like you can't have too much of a description or too many pictures, or it's trying to balance out what needs to be there and what can be there, and displaying kind of fun and something that makes sense.
Enticing away for people to come wanna look at your menu.
Right.
Nice. Well, I appreciate the conversation. As always, I think it's just a good, little clip to just easy design ideas to leave behind, add to your menu, consider it. So, and as always, you can always kind of book a consultation with our team to kind of go over your current menu. They can offer more, custom ideas to you and your brand. So don't feel scared to reach out, but
We're kind of scary.
yeah, it's a very fun group. So on to the fun question. I know we've mentioned this. We've talked about it a few times, I think, at lunch. I've been trying to keep it on the down low because I want to talk about it here. Spotify wraps, YouTube recaps, whatever platform you use. If you don't use any, you can take your phones out if you need to reference it. But
They have a YouTube rap?
yeah, that's what I use.
I need to. Oh, you're talking about just for music?
Yeah,
Okay.
which we are on both. It's a podcast.
Check this out. Nice plug.
I mean, there's a lot of things that we can go around the room and talk about, but I would say even if you don't use one of those, let's just mention kind of our top artist and top song of the year.
We love it.
It's
So,
gonna get exposed. I feel like it's gonna be
Expose me. I can go. I
you wanna go?
Because I don't use Spotify. I don't really. I mean, YouTube is usually more like content, not necessarily music. For context, my boyfriend and I moved in together recently, and I brought my turntable. So now we've got a whole collection of vinyl, and I got him a couple records for Christmas, which we opened early. And so we've been listening to a lot of Beatles. This is his favorite group, which I've always liked them, but now it's been nice to really get into it with a real fan who knows when each album came out and the history behind it all. But we've also, one of the albums that I picked up, every time I put it on, he's like, "Who is this again?" I really like him. Is Iron and Wine. Shepherd's Dog.
Genre?
It's an indie, chill kind of. I don't want to say folk. It's very rhythmic. It's very easy listening. Yeah. I believe one of their songs were from the Twilight album, which is why I listened to it in high school.
Teen Nightmare!
Yes. Team no one. Team Bella's dad.
I never watched the movies. I'm just
But you know, I mean, the first movie had a solid album, and then so that was something I listened to in high school. Saw the album recently on vinyl. I was like, hell yeah!
Nice.
Bought it, and we've just been binging it. So yeah.
Nice.
What about you?
So I was taking a look at my Spotify Wrapped. My most listened to song this year was "Dangerous" by Haley Steinfeld.
Nice.
So that song was from the soundtrack of Sinners, and this year has just been movie soundtracks for me. So Sinners, K-pop Demon Hunters.
Yeah.
So me and my girlfriend to listen to that. Wicked has been on my playlist forever. So just a lot of like soundtracks this year for us, or for me and my girlfriend.
Nice.
I don't have Spotify. I just listen to Pandora at 96.
It's Justin Timberlake. Is I wrong with that? Who's your top? I guess from like the 90s.
Yeah, or who's your favorite artist?
Who do you like?
Who you listen to?
I was definitely Backstreet Boys, but now I could go either way. But
Not in sync.
I do like NSYNC.
Okay, I said Justin Timberlake, so I was like,
Did you see that they remade the music video for "I Want It That Way"?
No, I'll check
It's like in an airport and everything.
They're in the same house and everything. It's so
Like if I could have gone to Vegas and seen them this year, I would have died. Like just died.
So mine, as I'm wearing a bluey sweater, I listen to a lot of heavy metal. So,
What heavy metal?
so I ended up going to a concert earlier in the summer. It was Creed, Nickelback, and while those were like the headliners, I love a band called Seven Dust, and they're a little bit heavier. And so they were my top artist for the year in my Spotify Wrapped. But the song "Rectifier" was my top song from Raw.
Come on.
Yeah, so it was like
Rammstein?
no, Raw, R.A. Not a huge band, but one that my dad really got me and my brothers into growing up. Yeah, so Raw has been a band that I really love listening to, and
Nice.
it's one of the songs that for whatever reason just came back up, and I was like, I listen to this all the time, so it's fun.
Nice.
Similar, I started listening to some heavier metal. I was listening to a lot of Slayer and Pantera this year, Megadeth. I listened to a lot of Joji recently.
Nice.
And then Hall & Oates was another one that I was. That's my guess as to what I probably listened to the most this year. Like it's a super wide range.
Nice.
But
What are you
That was
hosts?
the same.
Yeah, mine is
Hosts
top,
with the most.
top artist is Lumineers.
Nice.
And top song is Almost by Hosier, which I saw him in concert this year. I feel like whoever I see in concert that year, that's just
That's exactly what
makes
makes
sense. Yeah.
makes
So,
sense, yeah.
yeah, I think like there's always some songs that you either don't know very well or you're not a big fan of, and then you see it in concert and you're like, oh my gosh, it's very awesome. So. Thanks for joining us for our first year with this podcast. We hope to see you in 2026. We have a bunch of new exciting topics coming up, some new guests. And as I mentioned before, we hope to see you at NRF in January. But for all of us at the Howard Company, happy holidays, and we'll see you in 2026. Thanks.
See ya. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Bye.